what's up YouTube? This is Foxtail Digital coming to you again with Black Girl Stocks. And this is another segment of our top 3 option plays this week, where we're just gonna go over a few different trades, stock fundamentals, and different strategies that you can do to make it through. But first, if this is your first time watching this video, please make sure that you click that thumbs up button. It really helps the channel. Also subscribe, click that notification bell so that you get notified anytime I upload a new video for you guys. Okay, and the first stock that we're going to talk about is AAPL, and that's Apple, and right now it's trading at 148.19. So just looking at the Apple stock right now, over the past few months, it has been trading between, kind of between a pretty obvious zone, still uptrending, but you'll see that we kind of had resistance around 135. So kind of around this 135 area. We've had support down around 116 was the low, but around 120 we've seen support in this time frame. So I just want you to pay attention right here that we have 3 different earning reports, and they were all good ones. So we have one here, boom, this was a good one back in January. Then we had another good earnings in April, and then we just had a recent positive earnings in July. They've been having a lot of good earning beats, and this is a really good sign of consistency for the Apple's business model. And so the question right now is Apple stock going to be a good buy after the Q2 earnings? And they've been adding so many new products and just different features to their catalog. So I know they just added the Apple tag, and that's pretty cool. The iPhone 12, newer AirPod models, upgrades to their services, Apple Music, all of that. So it's really been doing well. But after that earnings, you'll see we've kind of been in another tight trading zone. This trading zone kind of started since that uptrend ended in July. So we've seen some resistance around 148. It's tapped here about 3 different times alone. And then you see support down here, maybe around 145. Yeah, you can say 145. It hit there a few times. And we literally just broke above that on the 16th of last week. So we hit a high of 151. And then you kind of saw that it had a little bit of a pullback down to 143, that same support. Right now, again, it's kind of looking like it's going to surpass that previous resistance. So right now we're looking at it's 148, and it's really close to that most recent high. And then just looking down here at the MACD indicator, it's really kind of looking like it's setting up to do a bullish crossover with that blue MACD over the yellow signal. Good bullish indicator that it's going to break out of this previous zone. And then also, we've said before, our previous resistance could become a new support. So if it does break through that, boom, we can see that fall down, kind of like it did with the 151. We use it as a new support. And then also looking down at the RSI indicator, it's looking pretty good. It's fairly neutral at 53, so it still has room to grow. So you see these green buy signals on the RSI, just means that the RSI indicator did dip below the overbought zone, and it has risen above it. So it dipped below, rose above, so this is a good buy-in indicator, and that's also a bullish indicator. So going into next week, we just want to see how it's going to react to this previous range. Is it going to continue with that breakthrough and reach upwards of 151 and up? Let's zoom in a little bit closer. This is on our 15-minute 1-week chart, and like I said, you see we kind of have had a little bit of a dip after we hit that high, but it's looking like it's reversing from there and kind of starting a new upwards trend, because we have had higher highs, and we also just popped above this white 50-day moving average. All bullish indicators. Okay, we would want to continue this uptrend, and I would see a good entry position being around the 140 zone. If it's surpassed these previous highs, then that's an indication that it's going to continue going upwards. Okay, so going into the options, I would pick the September 3rd expiration date, and I would do a long call. Now, like I said, I wouldn't get into this until it was above that 149. So I mean, hey, you can go ahead and pick that 149 strike price, or you can stick with the with the 148. It has a fairly low implied volatility. The delta is okay, it's pretty neutral, and the most that you would lose with this would be 276. And so you can do that. Now, I think that would be a good play. But if this is a little bit out of your price range, another thing that you can do that would be a little bit cheaper, you would be receiving a credit, and that would be to do a credit spread. And so I would still be bullish on this and then just do a credit spread. I would probably set my short maybe around the 145. Okay, so you would only get $28 with this. So you can, I mean, it depends on how risky you want to be. Oh yeah, and then also, hold on, if I was going to do a credit spread, I would pick an expiration date that's a little bit closer. And the reason why is because with my credit spreads, I like for them to lose value or just expire worthless. Okay, and the next stock that we're going to talk about is MSFT, and that's Microsoft. And right now it's trading at $304.36. So looking at the chart, starting fresh off, you can see that we literally just had this huge price jump on August the 19th. It hit a high of 305.84. And on that day, Microsoft announced that they're gonna have their first price increase for their Microsoft 350 service that they have. So their stocks literally just went up 4.7% over the last 2 days on that news alone. And then they also had a good earnings back here on the 27th of July. Going into next week, are we going to be bullish or bearish on this? Well, naturally, after seeing such a huge price increase, you would expect it to have a dip, but for this stock, I'm not really sure, because you can see how nicely the MACD indicator has been trading above this center line. You know, that's just really a good indication that it's going to continue on this upward trend. So it started doing that maybe around May, and it's really just giving strong uptrend. So moving a little bit closer, you'll see going into after hours, it's still trading really sideways, so it's kind of close, but it's still very close to that high that we hit on Friday. So a good entry point for me is going to be around 306, so about 306. Right now we're at 304. I would say 306 because that shows that it's still in that upward trend and that it still has that upward momentum, and then we'll go higher. But it also wouldn't be out of line to expect it to you know, bounce back and use that previous resistance as a new support. So that would be a pretty nice size dip if it did fall down there. But I mean, that's what we would look for that. So on the opposite, if you were going to anticipate a bearish move, a good put entry would probably be down here around 299. Now, of course, we're going to be looking at our indicators, and then you'll see right here the MACD, you know, it looks like it's trying to rev up to do a reversal also. So that's really a good bullish indicator, but we always want to cover our bases. I would wait for a bullish crossover if I was going to be doing anything bullish, or if you were going to do something bearish, then it'll continue on that drop, and it'll drop below the center line. So okay, so yeah, on this one, like I said, I'm pretty bullish on this. So I would pick an expiration date probably about the same, September 21st or further out. Let's see. Okay, so this one, Microsoft is kind of a little bit expensive. I would probably be more prone to doing a credit spread. And it's still going to be a bullish credit spread. So that's going to be a put credit spread. With the put credit spreads, as long as the stock increases in price, we're going to be profitable. We're still going to keep that credit, and it'll lose value so you can sell it for less. Or, you know, if the stock starts to drop, you know, it is going to lose some value, but as long as it doesn't reach your short leg, then you will still keep that, and it'll expire worthless. I would probably have my short maybe around 295. I feel like that seems pretty safe. So 295, boom. Okay, so we would only get $32 for that, but that's not terrible. Or if you're a little bit more risky, you know, you can have your short at 297. So the most you can make with this one is going to be 48. And it is going to expire in a few days, so that's not terrible for that. Okay, and last but not least, this is DKNG. We've talked about this before. This is DraftKings, and right now it's trading at $52.01. Now, looking at the stock chart, it's still kind of in that mini uptrend that it started. And even though we just had a pretty decent earnings with some resistance around 54, so you see it kind of hit that 54 2 times, we're still overall moving in an uptrend with higher highs and higher lows. And right now it seems to kind of be continuing upward after that recent dip right here. So you see that it's kind of consolidating there. Same thing with the MACD indicator. You come down here, it's getting a little tight, but we do see some, some little green peeking in here. The RSI looks pretty good. Just had a slight bullish crossover with the MACD indicator here. Very slight, but it's visible. Okay, so going into next week, if we are going to continue on this bullish trend, I would wait for the price to move up above that 53. So right now we're at 52. I would want to see the price, continue upwards past this 53, and that would be a good entry zone, because that's going to show that we're definitely continuing that uptrend. So I would want that zone to be my entry zone, and then of course monitoring our MACD indicator, our RSI, and our EMA lines. It is trading above the 50-day moving average, so that's a good indicator too. With these trades, if they don't meet our criteria, if they don't hit the price points, or if we don't see crossovers, we don't get into those trades. So DraftKings is one of the top online sports betting sites, and they have a lot of positive potential in the upcoming months. And right now it's not too far off from its yearly high of $74. Right now it's at 52. Now, like I said, we've definitely been in a downtrend since the 12th, but we did just have a pop-up above the center line on the MACD indicator in this time frame. So that's a good indication, that this downtrend at least is subsiding, and it's kind of starting to formulate itself back up into that continued uptrend. And then if you see it cross below, this 5150 zone, then that's a good indication that we are continuing on this downtrend, because you'll see here it does kind of have a little trend line. Boom, continued downtrend. So we would need to, like I said, see it either break above that 53 and get out of this downtrend, or it might continue in that downtrend, and you can actually do a put on this. So that's why it's really best to wait for the setup, because it could, like I said, continue on that downtrend or break up above these previous high zones and then go into an uptrend. So if I was going to do something with that, I would wait. So let's see, I would get something a little bit further out, maybe September 10th. Let's see what they're looking like. Okay, so this one doesn't cost too much. Make sure it's in a call, and I would get something in the money. Oh, it's a little bit more, but that's not terrible. So you can get in here for a couple of $100s. We have a pretty low implied volatility, decent delta, decent gamma. Actually, the open interest and volume are kind of low on this one. Yeah, I would probably stick with the September 10th. I would kind of have my stop zone if I kind of started to see it drop below that 50 to 49, because like I said, it would continue in that downtrend. So that's pretty much all I have for this video. So we're gonna keep it pretty short, but I recently just put out a video on how to make $100 every day trading options, pretty much what we're doing right here, but it's gonna give you a little bit more of the ins and outs with some steps and stuff like that. So make sure you check this video out. I'm pretty sure you're gonna love it, and thank you guys so much for watching the channel. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. All right, catch you next time.